He's one ugly looking dude, and he looks like he'd be the bad guy in the '80s action movie.
This is LA Kings Fan Talk with Rodney, Rob, Darren, Mike, and Joe. All right, boys. We recently discussed whether or not the Kings were the best team in the NHL. But after going 2-1-1 on our recent road trip, Joe, are the Kings overrated?
No, I think not. They just came back down to earth in terms of the road play. But yeah, I mean, they would have gone 3-4 if they or 3-4 if they didn't have somewhat of a meltdown in the Islanders game. That was definitely disappointing, but eventually, all good things come to an end, and so the streak ended, and the matchup against Quick, I think every Kings fan probably had in the back of their mind they knew the Kings were going to lose that one, and don't feel bad doing so, I guess. But no, the Kings are who we thought they are.
Love it. Rob, what do you think?
Um, the excuses that we could come up with, pretty legitimate excuses. We totally outplayed Washington with that loss.
Yeah, we got goalied.
Yep, we totally outplayed the Islanders, and we could even throw in a little whiny boo refs. Got hosed on some calls and whatnot. So you throw in, those are two losses there that very easily could have been 4 points instead of one. And if we get those 4 points out of those 12, we were looking at 10 whole points. But I mean, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I think those excuses are pretty legit. We're good. We're still real good. And I mean, what do you expect on playing 5 games in 8 days, and then a back to back on that weekend? It's almost guaranteed teams are going to play pretty poorly. So we eked out a point on that weekend. It is what it is. I think we're fine.
Yeah, I actually don't want to be known as the best team in the league. I mean, it would be cool to have it for 1 week or something, but I don't want the President's Trophy. That's a curse. I love being an underdog. So if we could just stay in the top 5 teams in the league all year, I think we're good to go.
Too bad 4 of them are in the Pacific.
Right? Darren, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we're properly rated. We're a top 5 team. I think there's going to be weeks where we're the best team, and there's going to be weeks where we're probably 5th or 6th, but we're going to be right around that range all season. I like Rob said, we kind of got goalied in one game. Who played against us in the Islanders game? I didn't get to watch that one live. Was it Sorokin?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're playing 2 tough goalies there, and he's a guy who can kind of steal a game. I don't know. I didn't get to watch it live, so I don't know if he really stole the game or not, but probably kept him in it, I imagine. But we're right there. I think we weren't going to win every road game. I don't think that was possible, but I think if we stay on our 115, 120 point pace that we're on, like, I think that's pretty reasonable with the team we have.
So since you were talking about the Islanders game, in that game, Gabby took a little knee-on-knee action. What do you think about that hit?
I thought it was he didn't get a penalty on it, right?
Nope.
Yeah, and it's like you look at a play from like Kaliev where the difference is his body position, where Kaliev is coming at him like this and he sticks the knee out this way, whereas Lee is coming at him this way and sticks the knee out, kind of like this. It just, I don't want to say how that's at least not a kneeing penalty. Maybe not a suspension-worthy one, but just a kneeing penalty straight up.
I got one for you. Oh, go ahead. I didn't know.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm just sitting there. I respect Anders Lee as being a grizzled veteran, plays the game tough and hard, and after the knee injury he went through, I actually was giving him the benefit of the doubt on that one. I'm like, I don't know. But then when he follows that up with a slew foot to Kaliev, I'm like, all right, fuck this guy. That didn't.
Yeah.
That was definitely he's definitely going out there playing beyond the edge, and he's trying to ignite his team, and sure enough, he did. Right, he after that fiasco, he goes and scores 2 goals and sends it in overtime. We lose the game. So what he was doing, I believe, was intentional. So and he got away with it. So it was frustrating as hell. Frustrating as hell.
I'd like to add that he's one ugly looking dude, and he looks like he'd be the bad guy in the '80s action movie. It's got that going for him.
Yeah.
So what sucks about that is he actually affected 2 games for us. They kind of thought Gabby would be good to go against the Rangers. Left the game early, which affected us for that game too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and as we record right now, do we have any idea about Gaborik?
Who's got update? Anybody? Darren?
The only thing I saw was they projected that since he played yesterday, maybe he takes a week off, and that was about it. Since if he was able to play on it, the injury can't be bad enough to be long term. But I don't think there's any updates.
So you're thinking
Movar?
So you were thinking Movar jumps in and they keep Gabby on the roster as the 7th defenseman until he's good.
Yeah, probably. If I had to guess.
Anecdotally, I thought like when he got off the ice, I'm like, oh, it couldn't have been as bad as Velarde's injury. Just the way that I mean, he was actually putting weight on. I'm not making it really
Right.
making a joke, but yeah, I mean that said, if he came back out, I couldn't have been too serious yeah.
Right. Came back out and played the next game. Right.
Yeah, he played a period. So, I mean, it was at least not as significant enough to miss a game. Even if, or he attempted to play in a game, I should say.
So speaking of defensemen, just a random thought. What do you guys think of Jordan Spence's play? I'll start with you, Rob.
I think the correlation is right with the teams coming back down to earth. I think he's starting to feel a little bit of the grind, especially with this small frame. You know, these smaller guys are always susceptible to being worn down a little bit. You know, the rigors of an NHL schedule for a smaller guy that this is really his first year, right? He's coming back down to earth.
Did I kind of hear maybe he should be our 7th defenseman and bring Clark up? Was that what your underlying tone there?
No, not at all. I mean, he's an NHL defenseman. These are the growing pains of having youth on the team. We have to suffer through this stuff. But if you're asking me, I still will always say Clark is a better defenseman, and I would like to see him. You know, he's tied for 3rd as we record, 3rd in the AHL
overall scoring.
That's not for rookies. That's not for defensemen. That's the entire AHL.
Yeah. I like it.
I'll add, I think Spence's game, even though it's dropped off, I still think he's playing above expectations
For sure.
For a rookie. You know, any qualifier his size, blah blah blah. You know, that was one of the mentioned a video before we got on here where a guy before the season kind of trashed the Kings defense, saying it was not deep, and it couldn't be further from the truth now that we're 20 plus games in, and Spence is a big part of that.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. He's gone from wow, he's a super awesome to he's just pretty awesome now.
Well, yeah, and the guy that I'm referencing, he had no clue. Like the Kings already knew what they had in him. They knew that they had an NHL caliber defenseman through his limited times that he played over the last season or two. He just wasn't getting the shot because of the depth on the depth on the right side. So yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw that I think Roy as well has come down a little bit. You know, it's been so airtight and almost flawless with Roy. I've been seeing a mistake or two here and there, and there's a little backflow to his game. So, and like I said, it could all be just from playing 5 games in 8 days. You know, It is what it is.
Any thoughts on that, Darren?
Sure. Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, his plays dropped a little bit on Spence, and I don't think it's quite to the level of call Clark up. If anything, I look at it as Clark is learning how to play against men down there, and hopefully, some people call AHL, defensive finishing school. So hopefully, he's learning how to play more defensively, and it's only going to make us better next year when we have a full complement of him and Doughty and possibly Spencer Roy. So I'm fine with him staying down there. I don't think it's ready. It's time for him to be called up just yet.
I'm sure he's going to get a shot this season. No one stays healthy for all, or expecting all three guys to stay healthy 82 games is unrealistic.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not expecting him to come up and take Spence's spot right now. I have my own opinions of who's better, but Spence hasn't done anything to where he needs to come off. However, LaFerriere and Fagemo swap. There are some guys down there that are scoring every single game, and I don't care what league you're in. When you put in a power play goal almost every single game that you've played so far, I mean, come on now.
Yep.
Right-handed shot on the power play, something we've been missing all year.
Yeah, that really does is a head scratcher. Why both the coach and the GM haven't made a move on that front.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, he's kind of wore out as well. He's just, he's not finishing. Yeah,
He's just young. I mean, the same thing that happened with Byfield last year. You could see the plays he's making are NHL plays, but he's just not finishing them. And once that starts finishing, I mean, he'll be fine. But it just doesn't seem to be this year. Maybe he needs a year in the AHL.
On the other end of that, he's making some plays where other guys aren't finishing, where he should have gotten some assists. Just last game, he had a beautiful pass to a Grunstrom,
Sure.
who didn't finish it. But yeah, I think it's time for a little Fagemo swap with him.
Hey, just real super quick. Just so bummed they called Kaliev's goal back because I wanted Kaliev to have that goal. Made me so sad.
Right. Let's move over and talk about Joe's favorite player so far this year. Joe, P.L. Dubois. What do you think about his play so far this year?
It's not at the level of the contract that he's making, that's for sure. I mean, I've obviously commented on his play like every one of these shows or whatever you want to call it, podcasting that we've done. Bottom line is, I think everybody wants to see more. There's glimpses of it, and I don't. Yeah, it's weird. Like almost you don't see like the passion there, like that's disconcerting. It's one thing if you're not getting the result, but I mean, at this point, I'd like to see him just dust it up with somebody, or he's so big. Go throw a big hit, that sort of thing. Do something.
I love that you said passion. That's a really good word. Like I feel that it's completely missing from his game. Like once or twice a game, he'll do a power move to show, hey, I'm this big dude, and I'll do a power move. But the rest of the game, he's just kind of,
So I want you all to do something. Do me a favor. The next couple of games, pay attention to him without the puck. And you want to talk about passion. You want to talk about hustle. You want to talk about what just grinds my gears. Just watch his play without the puck. It's like
he's a floater.
Oh, he watches. He's a spectator, and to be making that money, and to be as hyped as he's, to be called this elite kind of guy. Elite guys do not play that poorly without the puck.
Yeah,
they do.
I'll go one step further. Compare his play to Deneau's, in terms of that without the puck.
Exactly.
The guy's constantly getting in the way of passing lanes.
So you're saying it's not a French Canadian thing in general?
Wasn't making that connection, but
and Joe, and that's what it is. I think you and I, you know how it is. When we're watching it, to see Deneau do the things he does, and then to see the next center go out and not do those things, it gets frustrating.
Deneau is 100% hustle. He earns every point he gets. Yeah. And
Deneau is the best NHL player with one hand on the stick. He does so much with just one hand on his stick, doing with the pokes and the
He's just really
he's
strong.
phenomenal. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah, I would agree with Darren. He's definitely strong too. Him on the
Yeah.
boards and stuff, just how he like kind of he's like a worm too, like he wiggles out of stuff and then swings his stick over. Yeah,
And he
fun to watch.
enjoys the locker room dance more than anybody, more than Talbot and more than Guy Coffee. If you see the smile
Yeah.
on his
It's
face,
just the biggest cheesy smile. It's great.
yeah, it's
I'd
awesome.
love to see that in our next few games for sure.
Maybe Tano needs to just take PLD into the corner and give him a.
Darren, you got any thoughts on your boy PLD?
Yeah, I think I agree with both what Rob and Joe were saying. If I had to caveat a little bit, I'd say I don't know like how complex McClellan's system is, but I know he likes when the guys play within the structure of his system. And I almost wonder if it's too much thinking because he's still learning. And so it's not instinctual yet, where it is for Kopitar, Deneau, everyone else who's been on the team pretty much. It's an instinctive thing where every time this is where I got to be, where he's still thinking about it. And I wonder if that's where the slowness to his game, if you will, like the lack of passion or whatever, is him thinking all the time. He's not playing instinctually sometimes. Whereas like you see him rushing up the ice, and that's where you see the instinct, where once he gets out of the D zone and he's trying to play offensively, you can see a little bit more of the passion, whatever you want to call it, flowing a little bit more.
Right. I think the Kings are such a great system team. They all play within the system. But then we have two outliers. You have Fiala, who's taking all these chances that nobody else does, and then you have PLD, who's playing like without the passion. It's kind of weird, but
For sure.
all right, let's talk about upcoming schedule real quick here. Robert, who we got?
All right, looks like Winnipeg's coming to visit us, and then we go on a little division trip here. We go Seattle, San Jose, then Seattle comes to us, Calgary, then San Jose again. So we got to beat up these teams. These are the teams we need to beat up for sure. Coming through this, just to jump back on the horse here.
Yes, absolutely. And Winnipeg's pretty hot right now, so
yeah, it's a big
game right there.
And heck, you could say the Sharks are kind of hot. Just they're not total dog crap like they've been.
Yep.
But these division games are going to be kind of big for us.
For sure. You guys want to throw some numbers out there? How many games
Well,
are we talking?
Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We won't go to that second. We'll just go to Christmas. Okay.
All right.
So we'll go Winnipeg, Seattle, San Jose, Seattle, Calgary. 5 games, 10 points. What do you got, Joe?
I'm looking at the matchups again here real quick. I mean, they really should win them all, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'll give them 7 out of 10 points.
7 out of 10. Wowzer.
I'm going to say they're going to lose to the Sharks.
Darren, what you got?
Say 9 points. I think this is like you said, the type of schedule that we need to get a lot of points out of. I don't know where the overtime loss comes in, but somewhere in there we'll take an overtime loss, shootout loss, something like that.
It's probably on that back to back when we go from San Jose, we come home to play Seattle. Rodney, what do you got? 10 points.
Kings are getting back on that winning streak. All 10 points. Calling it here.
I love it. What
do you got, Rob?
I got 9. And I couldn't tell you which team we're going to lose to in overtime.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be nice right now to our opponents and giving away 1 point.
And if we do lose that one, is it going to be because somebody socked somebody in the face and got an extra penalty?
Oh yeah. It'll be Fiala did something stupid, and Fiala and Kempe both did something stupid again, and then we
get too many men because PLD didn't hustle off the ice.
Yeah, something like that. By the way, 3 of us said 9 points our last podcast, and if we win that Washington game, that's 9 points. By the way,
right?
Yep.
So here we are. we'll see what happens.
All right, Kings fans, that's our show for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check that notification bell. Until next time, stay classy and go Kings go!
Go Kings!
Bag it.